Greetings folks. Today's action cams are fantastic at recording underwater video with their little cheap underwater housings, usually waterproof to 30 meters or so, which is a perfectly respectable dive depth, especially the ones that can do 4K natively, for 4K 30 frames a second. The results are just stunning, I find. Way more convenient than a big bulky SLR in a housing with a big dome port or whatever, especially when coupled with a decent dive video light. The only trouble is they can't focus close enough really. When you're underwater, usually you want to focus about 20 centimeters so that you can get nice and close to little fish and crabs and seahorses, things like that. These cameras can really only focus to about 40 centimeters underwater, which is not quite close enough, I find. There are a couple of solutions. You can add a close-up filter, like I have here. This is a +10 close-up filter. The problem is close-up filters lose their power when they go underwater because there's not as much difference between the refractive index of water compared to glass as there is air compared to glass. So the +10 works quite well, probably brings the focus down to maybe 25 centimeters, but I would really like to be able to go to 15 to 20 centimeters. What you can also do is refocus the lens, and what I'm going to show you is the ThiEye T5e, which is just ridiculously easy to refocus the lens. So that's bringing the focus range closer. You'll lose infinity focus, but that's pointless underwater. You don't need to be able to focus more than 3 or 4 meters away really. Where I'm diving, we're usually in limited visibility, so you know, beyond 2 or 3 meters you just doesn't need to be sharp because you're not going to be able to light it anyway. What I need to do is find out how close I need to focus this lens to make it useful underwater, and that's what this exercise is all about. I'll show you how to do the refocus anyway. It's just crazy easy. Another thing about close-up filters, you can stack them one on top of the other to get stronger magnifying, but every time you do that you effectively muck up the image quality. It produces more colour fringing and less focus out towards the corners. You might have it sharp in the middle, but the image quality falls off going out towards the edges. So although it's kind of convenient, it's not the best solution. So what you're going to do is unscrew the lens and extend it a little bit. For that you need to prise off the front cover, and that is just clipped into place, so you just run your fingernail around there like that, and it really just pops off. There we go. Now we've got access to the lens. The lens is kind of glued into place. At this stage it's a very good idea to make a mark on the lens, and with something sharp I've put a little scratch there. That was at top and center, so that's where it originally was. I've already refocused it around about 2.5 millimeters. To get the lens rotating you're going to need to be a bit brutal, get some pliers or something like that. It doesn't take much, so you can wrap a bit of tape or cloth around it or whatever you want to do. I actually just very gently gave it a turn and it came loose. Then you can easily rotate the lens to refocus. That's how it comes, with my scratch mark there, top center. I just refocused it around a little bit like that, 2.5 millimeters for this dive that's coming up, and I've decided that I'd like to go a little bit further, so I'm going to go another couple of millimeters just to get a little bit closer focus. So that's all we need to do. You don't really need to re-glue it, it's quite stiff there, it's not going to move. So you have to remember that means you'll lose your infinity focus for out of the water, but it'll bring in focus to maybe 20 centimeters, hopefully down to 15 centimeters, which would be ideal. Then you can just clip the front back on. It just clips in like that. Done. You can actually see the lens sort of protruding a little bit further than it did.